Hi, and in today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to create this colourful letterhead, if you'd like to call it, or letter design. So what we're going to do is just open a new document, and we need to insert our colourful imagery or graphics around the edge here. So let's hop onto the internet, and I'm going to insert Pixabay. And then if you just click on pixabay.com, and then you can search this website for huge amounts of images, graphics and vectors that will suit whatever you need. So you don't have to go with what I'm doing, you can select anything of your choice. So I'm just going to type in shapes. I'm going to go along to the drop down here, click on the drop down and select vector images. So there's a huge range for you to choose from. You can also put in things like colourful paint splats, colourful paint swirls, anything you like. But as you can see, I've selected this graphic here. And all I'm going to do is click free download. And then I'm going to select one of the options here. I'll select the one that's already checked and select download. Go back to your Word document. And the important thing to note at this point is that if you want this graphic on every single page, so for example your letter is 2 to 3 pages long, you'll need to put them in the headers and footers. Because if you put something in the headers and footers, when you select page break or you go on to the next page, it will simply copy whatever you've put in the headers and footers onto the next page. Now it doesn't actually have to be in the section designated to your headers and footers, so I'll show you that now. Now if you're not interested in putting them in the headers and footers, you can just simply enter them in as normal and you don't have to worry about them putting them on the next page. Let's show you what I mean. So double click at the top and you can see I've now entered into my headers and footers. You can clearly see here, and at the bottom I've got header and footer. Now, once I'm within my headers and footers, I can go up to Insert, Picture, Picture from File. I go to my downloads, select the image, and click Insert. Now, for most images, when they're inserted into a Word document, you can't move them around. So make sure it's selected, right click, go down to Wrap Text and In Front of Text. Once you've done that, you can move it anywhere you like. Now, if I come out of the headers and footers, so double click on the center space here, you can see that my image remains, but it has slightly grayed out. Now, don't worry, if you want to print this or save it as a PDF, it will be absolutely perfect. But within headers and footers, whenever you put something in the headers and footers, it's almost like when you come back out, it sort of sends it to the background, almost like you've put a piece of tracing paper over it. Because then if I insert an additional page, so go to Insert and select Page Break, you can see that it will copy exactly the same over to the next page, and that's because we're in the headers and footers. So let's just go back. I go back to the top of my page and double click. As you can see, we're back in the headers and footers. So I'm going to select my image and I'm going to rotate it by selecting this circular arrow at the top and simply dragging it round. Now don't forget, if you don't want to be in the headers and footers, you don't have to. You can just make this up as normal, but it doesn't really make much difference to the editing process. It just depends on whether you want it on every page of your document. So I'm just going to click and drag this down so it stretches the full length of my page. And then, of course, you can customize this. You can make it as wide or as slim as you like. Once you're happy with it, I'm actually going to make another copy of this so I can have another one at the bottom here. So you can copy and paste this in the normal way, Command or Control C, followed by Command or Control V, or you can simply hit your Alt key on your keyboard, watch the cursor change, then click your image and drag. Make sure it's selected, and then just click and drag. Once you've clicked and dragged, both the images will be selected. So if you try to rotate just this one, you can see that both of them will rotate. So we don't want that, so click away from both images and then make sure you click within your header or footer section. If you click in the middle, you'll come back out of the headers and footers. Click back on your image, go to the rotation arrow and then just pull it round. I'm going to have mine roughly about here, and I sort of want to line up these two yellow sections here. just going to move that over, and then I'm just going to stretch it across. Okay, I want to leave a little bit of a gap under here because that's where I want to put my contact information. So once I'm happy with the placement of my graphics, I can then insert my logo. Now I'm just going to use a logo that I made up in the rehearsal section. I'm just going to use this here. So I'm just going to copy and paste it, Command or Control C, and then go back to this document, Command or Control V, and then move it up to wherever I need it. Now again, if you've inserted your logo and it comes in as a picture and you can't move it, again, right click, go down to wrap text and down to in front of text. And then you'll be able to move this around. Now, if you can't quite see where it is because of the headers and footers element in the way, then just double click in the center of your document, and then you can see how it will lie once you've saved it, or once you've printed it out, or you sent it as a file or a PDF file. Okay, so let's click back in. I'm just going to move that a little bit to the right and down. So the next thing I want to do is put my contact information. So I'm going to go back up to Insert, along to Text Box, and select Draw Text Box. Then I'm just going to click and drag. Now all text boxes by default, if I just click away, will come with a white background, which I know you can't see, but also come with a black border. So I'm going to get rid of both of those. So I'm going to click on my text box, make sure I'm on Shape Format, go to Shape Outline, click on the drop down and select No Outline, go to Shape Fill, click on the drop down and select No Fill. Now I'm just going to insert my contact info. Now that I've formatted this text box and the text within it, all I want to do now is copy and paste it in the same way that I did with the graphics. So I'm going to hold my Alt key down, click and drag, and then just selecting this text box, I'm going to enter in more contact information. So I'm going to select Command or Control A, and then I'm just going to paste in my contact information. Now we'll align all this up in a second. Again, click and drag, hold the Alt key down. Oops. If you need to go back at any point, just hit Command or Control Z and it will take you back one step. So hit the Alt key, click and drag. Once again, just select this box here, then Command or Control A, and then I'm just going to paste in the fake website. Stretch that out. If you can't see the whole thing, it's because your box isn't big enough, so you need to just stretch it out. Again, Alt key down, click and drag, and then just select this box here, click away and then click back on, and then just click inside Command or Control A to select the whole lot, Command or Control V, then to paste in your email address. Once they're roughly in the places that you want them, then we can go ahead and begin to align them. I'm just going to move this across a little bit and then move this one over as far as I want it, and then just sort of adjust these two in the middle, and then we'll go to the Align tool. So in order to align all of these up, just hold down the Command or Control key and then just click on all of the different elements and it will highlight all of them. Make sure you're on Shape Format and go along to the Align tool here, click on the drop down and select Align to Middle. And then they'll be all lined up to the center. You can also go down and use this Distribute horizontally, and that will mean there is an even distribution between each of your text boxes. So once you're happy with this at the bottom, you can actually group it together, so you can actually move it as one unit, and it can be really helpful. So if I just select them all again by holding down the Command or Control key, go up to the Group tab here, click on the drop down and select Group. Now I can move this round as one item. So if you need to move the whole lot up or the whole lot down to the left or to the right a little bit, then you don't have to select each individual item and go through and align the whole thing all over again, which can be a real pain and very time consuming. Okay, so once you're completely happy, then just double click into the center of your page and you can see everything's grayed out, but you can see where everything lies, and just to check you are happy with it. Now the other thing you'll notice is your cursor will begin over the top of your logo. You can obviously hit the return key, but as you type, let's put some random text in here, you can see what happens is your text will actually go over the top of your graphics, which is obviously something you don't want. You don't want to have to keep hitting the return key all the time. It's a real pain. You can adjust the margins if you want to. So for example, if you go to layout and you go down to margins, you can go down to custom margins here, and then you can make your right margin far wider. So let's, for example, put this to 5 centimeters. I know it's a bit extreme. Let's just put it to 5 centimeters. And then you can see what happens. Actually, it worked out quite well. So if you adjust your margin, it will push it over to the left, and then you can go ahead and type as normal. However, one of the more versatile things that I like to do is to insert another text box. So if you go to Insert, Text Box, Draw Text Box, remember we're not in the headers and footers now because this will be your actual letter. So click and drag out a text box. Again, all text boxes come with this white background and black border. So let's just get rid of both of those. Select the text box, make sure you're on shape format, shape outline, no outline, shape fill, no fill. Now, if I put my text in here, let's just put some random text in, you can see that my text will only type to the dimensions of the text box. And of course, if I move the text box around, my text will adjust accordingly, making this incredibly versatile. So you can, again, move this wherever you want around your page. You can put the text exactly where you want. You can line it up with your logo. You can have a small section in the middle. You can move it down the page. You can have it anywhere you like. So as you can see, this is why I like to use text boxes. And then when I click away, then you have a beautifully laid out letter. So let's just put in Dear Stranger. And then you can pop in yours sincerely, your signature block. And then when you want to move this text box around, when you've just typed something, your cursor will be inside your text box. If you then want to move the text box, hover your cursor over the edge of the box and you'll see it changes to a cross. Once it does that, you can then move the text box around. So if I line this up with my logo roughly and then click away, you can see it looks a little bit odd. So I can just stretch this out a little bit, move it down. And of course, you can adjust the font size and font itself if it doesn't quite work, and fully adjust it so that it suits your taste. So there's your design, and I'll just quickly show you again. If we were to insert an extra page, so go up to my page break here, you can see, obviously you can move this over. This is how flexible a text box is. So you can see that the logos and the text and the graphics and everything are copied over to the next page. And that's the beauty about doing all this in the headers and footers. So let's just undo that. And there we have the final design. So I hope that's helped you today. Don't forget, Pixabay is really versatile. It's got so many designs on it. Just go and have a play, go and have a look around, see what you can find, and then you can adapt this according to your taste. I hope that's helped you today. If it has, please subscribe and have a great day.